Alright, it's VOD review time, meaning it's bullying time. And this time, our bully victim is the lovely Piquante slash Slow Luck Arisa main. So the reason why I'm skipping to halftime here on the 66 is because he's an Arisa main, and his Arisa is fine. Worst case scenario in a future scrim, I'll go back and look at it. But for now, we're going to talk about Reinhardt, because Reinhardt is the hero that he's less comfortable on, so that's what I care about most. So yeah, let's get into it. So let's see, F1, how convenient.
3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Escort the payload.
Payload secure. Move out.
Okay, so I remember this because I was on this team, but in Spawn, the idea was this comp will not perform that well into a Bastion. And I don't know if it was you or if it was someone else, but someone said, well, why don't we just turtle behind payload? Now, that's fine, but Bastion was not scouted. So this should change the idea. If they're running just Orisa Hog, Ashe, Hanzo, there's no reason to turtle behind payload as much as we did in this round. So I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I like that you seem to be looking out, or you seem to be shielding their big combos, so like Halt Hook. But, so currently the round has gone on for 45 seconds. And you fire struck once in these 40. You have done nothing but hard shield and hide behind the payload for 45 seconds. Now, I'm not expecting you to like fly up onto the high ground and, kill them or something. But, like, this is a high damage comp. And into a high damage comp, that's when shield management is extremely crucial, because you have very small windows to shield because of how quickly your shield will go down. And you want to time those windows as best as you can. Now, regardless of shield management, you should always be trying to get fire strikes just to build your ultimate, because you're not going to get much damage anyways. So the fire strike becomes even more important. But there are some times where you're holding shield for like the sake of just like, I need to block damage. Like if we go back to the beginning. Like right here. Like, you're safe because there's the payload in the way. Zarya is fairly safe because she's behind you, and the supports should be out of line of sight because they don't have to come through. So maybe you're like, I don't know, you're trying to shield McCree so he can get some shots, but he can corner peek. But even if he couldn't, like, your team shouldn't be trying to, shield war these guys. But beyond that, like, rather than just staying here and doing nothing, essentially, other than, you're getting distance. But as we're pushing payload, because we have a Lucio, and you know that the primary shot caller, which is Sombra, is playing, or the primary shot caller is playing Sombra, which is not the greatest shot calling hero. And I forgot if it was this map or the previous one where I was like, main tank has to call the shots because I'm playing Sombra. So rather than oops. Oh, jeez. So, you have a Lucio, right? And Lucio's a huge resource because, you can get that quick mobility. Now, even though they have a Lucio to mirror our speed, they don't, in actuality, have the same speed as us, because our tanks can set up quicker than their tanks can. And our tanks can, like, mobility favors our tanks more than it does theirs. So, there's a lot of things you could do, rather than just sitting on the cart for this entire duration, and then just having your shield shredded. So you could go for an early push on the high ground, which maybe once you like get to here, you like go up the stairs and try to force them off rather than just have them sit there. Eventually you force them to drop down because of the contest, and then that's when the aggression should come in. So if we go back, I could go a little too far forward. Nope. Okay. Okay, so I like the whole blocking of the pole. Now here, okay, so this has been, right now, like in this very moment, is the greatest opportunity for you to engage, like this entire match so far, right? Because they're in front of you and you can walk into them. Now, the issue being, you know, your shield at 683 HP. So you can do one of two things here. You can just say, screw it, call the Lucio to go speed, and just shield hop forward, and I don't know, hope for the best. Or you can hide around gas and be like, hey, I'm charging a shield, which is, albeit riskier, so. Okay, but like right now, like the team, along with you, needs to commit to some sort of engagement, because we're about to be, oh, well, hold on. Because like, by standing here, I know what you're thinking, right? Like, oh, if I push into them, I'll die because of how much damage they have. Well, if you don't push into them, your shield will break, and then you'll die. You know what I mean? So by the time, like, that wasn't really engagement, you kind of get hooked in. By the time that happens, you don't even have a shield anymore. So, like, I agree that that's not the best position to be in, but might as well just say, fuck it, cut my losses, I'm just gonna go. Okay. During regroup, it's always good to just look forward towards where the enemies may be. You know, they have Hanzo, who knows, maybe he's playing aggressive. You want to be able to be there to react to him. And again, oops, pause please. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so you're coming out here, and you don't see them down this road, right? So you know they're not here, and I think, no, Sombras should have, if I didn't scout gas station, I called 3 on gas station. That part I do remember distinctly. I didn't know where the other 3 were. But regardless, we know that they're not there. So, in your mind, you have to be thinking, where are they so I can shield any oncoming, like, burst damage or burst anything. So, like, you can just shield for like a brief second coming out because you don't know what's going to happen. So you might as well just be prepared. Worst case scenario, you lose like 0.2 seconds of time because your movement's slightly slowed for the moment that you hold shield for. Better than taking an anti-grenade. And almost the hog hook. Okay, you. Oops, I'll keep playing it out. Okay, let's go back. A little more. Okay. No, wait, further. Okay, so here you're shielding damage because you're antied. Okay, but once that anti goes down, like, their team's kind of split all over the place. You don't necessarily have to be, like, shielding all this damage. Like, look who's shooting at you. Arisa's shooting at you, right? That's not going to be lethal to anyone. Okay, and if this bubble, maybe this bubble wasn't communicated, but if it was, then you made the mistake of not being aggressive enough. Wait a second. When did that Hanzo ult come out? I kept pausing it, so. Okay, right now. Okay. Okay, you walk into the dragons, which is unlucky. But either way, you should have been trying to like pressure that Roadhog a little bit, like a little bit harder than you were.
وليهم قوتك.
I feel unstoppable.
Get this doggy moving.
And here, so last round there, Orisa was kind of playing that high ground. And if the cart's going to be over here, you know, we can always actually just take this high ground. If they're like here, then they're fucked because we have that Lucio amp to go into them. So better to be on this, better to be on the same vertical than them shooting downwards into us. Unless, you know, you want to go underneath, unless you want to go underneath them, but that's a whole different story. So I believe here we go through Mega again. Yeah, no. If we don't go through Mega, everything I said doesn't make any sense. Oh no, we don't. Okay, but okay, actually no, this is still fine. Well, let's see where you go. Okay, pushed up a little too fast, but that's not entirely your fault. So I don't. If the plan was to go underneath there, then fine. But if it wasn't, then not so fine. So here you swap to Orisa, I think.
I play to win.
Just kidding, off tank play. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so if I'm gonna, beforehand, the two things that I predict that I'm gonna have to comment on are defense matrix usage and when you're engaging. I don't know why that nade came out. Okay, that's nice. Okay. Winston's up, and his bubble's already gone by the time you jump with him. So he gets shredded, and then you jump through by the time he's already dead. Or like by the time you actually make contact with him.
Get through this.
Okay. Like, I know that's not much diva footage. But, like, just one mistimed engagement. Your Winston died. I mean, I'm not saying he would have survived, but you would have greatly increased his chances of survival. And then you put yourself wildly out of position just from one mistimed engagement and a little bit of an overboost. Okay, and from here it's just, you know. Right, I don't think you get the mech back. No. Okay. Moving on to the next map, which is Eichenwald. And I want to see Ryan.
Traveling to Eichenwald. Ready for battle. 2, 1.
Oh, no, that's perfect.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, okay. Out the spawn, just always look to shield, because you never know what's going to happen. Same concept as coming out of that mega tunnel. When you don't know what's going to... Like, if you're going into a place with a potential threat, just shield for, like, a second, you know? Because you'll get it back by the engage. I'm like, look. Fire's already at 40% ult charge. Like, if you had shielded that, maybe only at, like, 15. Okay, shielding for your team to cross. That's good. Alright, so now you're genning the shield, which is also good. But, like, and in downtime, might as well just look for a fire strike. Just pick the, like, press E while you're looking at the wall, and then step out. The fire strike comes out, and step back in. Okay. Now, so you shielded because of the pull, right? Which is fine. But then afterwards, you should immediately be looking to go back to your little hidey corner and make it even deeper to the corner so that you don't get pulled again. Because when you got pulled, your shield's already at half, and it's going to get shredded. So the only time you should be hard shielding is for when you're actually going to engage, or if there's like some guy who's about to die and you have to hard shield them. Okay, and like right now, you're going in with quarter shield for a very aggressive charge against a very high damage comp. And then while you're sitting there with like very little shield left, just try your best to shield hop to a better location. Because like you're pretty fucked either way, but maybe you're slightly less fucked if you try to retreat as fast as possible. Okay, and you also began your peak before your shield cooldown came back. Even if you did have your shield cooldown, you want to be like, first of all, you want to be full shield. So, you know. So, yeah, definitely your shield management needs work. You need to be aware of how much health your shield has, and you need to time your shielding with engages, primarily. Because, like, this comp has a lot of long-range damage, and you need to close that distance as fast as possible, which requires very decisive play, and it requires your resources to be available when that decisive opportunity arises. Oh, okay. You've been shielding every other pull, so I won't say anything about that. Okay, you're moving up. Okay, wait, let's go back. Okay, here. Okay, you got nanoed. You can push up with shield hopping. So think about it this way, right? Nano boost gives you a 50% damage reduction, okay? And supercharger makes everyone do 50% more damage. So in total, they're doing 25% less, right? Because if a shot's doing 100 damage, supercharged does 150. They hit you for 150, it goes down to 75. So yeah, you have a 25% damage reduction, and you're engaging. So shield hop forwards again. I'm not saying you would have won that fight, but if the Pharah had not gotten the barrage, that would have been your win condition.
This is not over.
Widowmaker here.
And here, as when you're trying to shield for crossings, you can look to time your shield with the defense matrix, so that you don't have to be shielding that whole time, and you won't have a dead shield by the time you actually get to cover. What is that turret firing at? Okay, like, this is the decisiveness that I'm looking for. Okay, but this is the indecisiveness that I was saying is bad. So, if we look back at that in third person. Okay, so you and Orpheus are going in. Now, you get distracted by the turret. That's mistake number one. And then here, you start to back off. You're on a just invested grenade. And, you're shield buffed, and you still have half of a shield left. So, keep going. Especially against the pharmacy. What's so strong about pushing forward, and there's a flanking Torbjorn. What makes this so strong is that engaging on this front line is a 6v3. Well, if D.Va peels, it's a 5v3. You want to just flatten this front line as quickly as possible. Then worry about picking off the flanking Torbjorn and the pharmacy, right? Win the ground fight first, then take care of the flankers. Push. Go forward. Oops. flanked by a molten core. And like, if you had pushed forward there, I'm not saying you're to predict that, but if you had pushed forward there, you might have been able to avoid getting killed by that.
Helden sterben nicht.
Group up here.
60 seconds remaining.
Okay, so here you're rotating left side. Okay, but hold on. Were you in range to shield that Ana? Where was Ana? Okay, it seems like your backline rotated slightly slower than you did. Okay. Alright. And as soon as you're done Ana, you should be retreating. Like, you lose main heals and it's over.
Deine Hexe ist da.
Again! Again!
30 seconds remaining.
Make every second count! Crush their defenses!
And like there, what you could have done is, so you have a Hammond, right? So Hammond's gonna touch. Wait, is Hammond not gonna touch point? Okay, Hammond wasn't touching point, but either way, your job as Reinhardt is not to touch the point. Okay. So here, what you could have done is, all right. So Hammond gets hooked, whatever, he gets nanoed. So rely on Hammond to touch point, and you with the rest of your team minus a McCree. So basically, you and the two supports, right? Because Widow's doing whatever. So just amp speed with this Lucio. Hopefully, like the moment. Okay. Orisa can place a shield every 8 seconds. Now they've changed it to every 9 seconds, but who cares? So the best way to do this is as soon as you see Orisa place shield, you amp speed and you shatter. Now you don't really have the time to do that, but either way, just run with your Lucio through the Orisa shield and get a shatter. That's like, it's not great, but it's better than nothing. And like when you were walking forward, you were shielding barely anything from the front while the fire was hitting you from behind with multiple directs. So you're already so low by the time you get to shatter. You might have been able to capitalize on that if you had shielded the Pharah. Is that that felt quick. 23 minutes. Yeah, that was pretty quick, but still gets the points across. Okay. In the future, I might go back to look at your Orisa, and I probably will. But more importantly, Reinhardt. So shield management. Shield management. Look for engages on weaker front lines. Their front line is weak. Their back line is what's pumping out all the damage. So just go. Just like fight them. You have a Lucio. Be aggressive. Have your resources up when you're going to be aggressive. And drain your resources when you're actually fighting, not in the posture phase. So you want to poke as little as possible when you're Ryan versus Orisa Hog. And as soon as, either you guys are in a position or they fucked up or whatever you see, then you're like, go speed, go. And you super aggressive, shield hop forwards and just go at them. Because if you're either burning shield before the engage happens for whatever reason, or you don't recognize that your shield's low, that's what's going to lose you the fight. Or rather, that's what's going to destroy your shield and then get you killed and probably lose you the whole fight. So that's what I want you to do mainly. If we want to talk about little smaller things, just try to fire strike more often. You know, fire strike's one of the best way to build your ults. Fire strike's off cooldown, just chuck it. You know, it's a very straightforward cooldown. Like the only time I would hold a fire strike is if you're about to go for a shatter, but like other than that, you know, just eat the fire strike. And also something I want to see you do when you're eating these fire strikes is so notice how if I press E right now, fire strike will not come out instantly, right? It does that little charging thing for like a brief moment. So if you don't want to get killed, say the enemy's like holding like over here, for, you know, in the training range, of course, you can start it and then go. You start it behind the wall and then walk out and then go back behind the wall. Rather than, like, this is not what you want to do. You don't want to go like this and then come back. You want to start it behind the wall and then throw. And that's all. Oh, I missed. Okay. Alright. See you in the next VOD review.